Hello, my name is Maya Harris and I'm a grad student at West Texas A&M University. I'm going to do a book review on the book Data versus Democracy by Chris Schaefer. Schaefer is a data scientist that specializes in digital disinformation and data ethics. This book discusses the mechanism in which our data is collected as users and how propaganda is fed back to us using content recommendation systems and algorithms. It talks about the bigger picture of how that has shaped and impacted our economy, politics, and our society as a whole. He explains how our American economy was built and how it has drastically changed since the onset of the information age. We've moved from a commodity-based economy to an attention-based economy. Because of the overabundance of information available at our fingertips, attention is now the currency. Content recommendation engines and social media feeds control the information that we see. The algorithms used are based on our personal data being mined, which results in users constantly being fed propaganda, which can be damaging and addictive. Overall, I do agree with Schaefer. I believe digital disinformation has had a big impact on society, and I enjoyed how he explained the various concepts that he introduced. He used a lot of different analogies that made the book relatable to a wide variety of audiences. Like, for example, to describe the mechanism of recommendation engines, he used the example of dating apps, biological processes, and music composition. He also discussed several case studies as examples of his claims. According to an article published by Springer Nature, data researchers found 6 main ethical challenges of recommender systems: inappropriate content, privacy concerns, encroachment of user autonomy and personal identity, lack of transparency, reproduction of social and cultural biases, transformative impact of society. I believe social media in particular has changed human behavior. It's changed the way we receive information as well as the way we interact with each other. Most of us have no idea how much influence it has over us. It affects our thoughts, our values, and our beliefs. Because the content that we are receiving is controlled and manipulated by data systems, it makes it hard to discern what is real versus what is fake. The examples of the cultural biases Schaefer gave were extremely interesting. In the book, Algorithms of Oppression, How Search Engines Reinforce Racism, the author, Sophia Noble, said algorithmic oppression is not just a glitch in the system, but rather is fundamental to the operating system of the web. She not only believes that cultural biases are being amplified and propagated, but also that artificial intelligence will become a major human rights issue in the near future. As a social media user, I'm sure the content that is generated for me is much different than the content generated for those in a different demographic group. I agree with Schaefer. Digital disinformation and propaganda are threatening our democracy, but I further believe that Google and Facebook have grown so large that the monopoly of information is just as big of a threat to our democracy. Schaefer's analysis of the role disinformation plays in our election system by giving an example of the 2016 election was extremely relevant to the recent events of the 2020 election. Schaefer wrote, "Discrediting the process can call the results into question. If enough citizens feel the election was illegitimate, it can make it difficult for the election winners to govern." Researchers at Princeton University studied the role of social media in elections and found that social media platforms are more left-leaning, and therefore the results of the 2016 election were inconsistent with their research. However, I do agree with Schaefer's analysis. I agree not only did the data engines and propaganda decide the 2016 election, but it further defined President Trump's entire presidency. It aided in propelling the conspiracy theories that eventually incited the insurrection at the U.S. Capitol. While these platforms do tend to be more left-leaning, social media plays the biggest role in influencing elections by micro-targeting voters and increasing polarization. To combat the effects of data disinformation, Schaefer said, "Understanding how it works on a general level can help us better understand online self-radicalization, partisan polarization, and how actors can manipulate platforms to advance their agendas on a massive scale." Overall, I found Schaefer's analysis of modern-day data ethics and disinformation to be poignant, timely, and extremely relevant.